Hey guys, welcome back to the incoherent ramblings of a madman. That's the name. Uh, I was originally gonna, talk about strawberry milk and milkshakes and all that because my mom gave me some and I wanted to talk about that. But when things like this happen, it's kind of hard to move on from it in like a day. So I'm not gonna harp on the whole Charlie Kirk thing a whole lot because I already made my video on that, how I feel about that whole situation, and all that kind of stuff. I kind of want to I kind of want to go in on the reaction to it and the reaction to that kind of reaction, if that makes sense. Because what essentially happened was he became a martyr, basically, and that's never a good thing. And I'll explain why in a second. But he basically became a martyr, and when you go on, I don't know, like TikTok or something, and you see these kinds of people celebrating it and parading his death and all of that and saying he deserved it, that makes things a whole lot worse, right? And that kind of fuels the other side, right? To be more like, hey, they killed our guy, right? And now they're laughing about it to our faces, and now we should get them back, right? That's basically what goes on generally, right? That and like the murder in itself, basically, it kind of fuels that anyway, right? It kind of jumpstarts that anyway, but celebrating it and laughing about it and making jokes about it, like as soon as it happens, as soon as you get word of it, that would fuel people further, and that is not okay. That's never okay, right? I don't know why I have to be in a position, or anyone has to be in a position to say that. This is something we learned as kids, right? This is not. This is unacceptable behavior. I don't know why anyone has to say, "Hey, you laughing about it and you saying it's deserved is reprehensible and you shouldn't do that, right? I don't understand why people have to go that far to be like to talk them down as if they're fucking children. And most of the people who are doing this are adults, right? And like, well, I believe are adults. They could be, some I think are probably in high school as well, but these people are in college, or they look like they're past college, right? So you have these people just being like laughing about it and saying, I'm happy that a bad man died, and I hope the worst for him, or fucking whatever, right? You see these people going for that, and you're on, let's say you're on like a fan of Charlie Kirk, right? Or you're just right wing conservative, and you happen to be just the most extreme kind of person, right? And then you see this, and then that kind of validates you, right? Because you see these people as just these basically, you can see these people as like monsters, right? Which they aren't most of the time, right? These are just people. But given, I'm just saying that I'm laying down the logic, okay? You see this person as a monster, right? And when their whole, you see this whole movement, right? Well, it's not the whole movement, but you view it as a whole movement because it's a whole bunch of people that are talking like this. You see this and you view the whole movement as just the worst kind of people, right? These people are out for blood and out for murder and blah 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 blah, right? And that is like dangerous, right? That's a dangerous way of thinking, and you kind of enable that and fuel that by laughing at it and by celebrating the death, right? And here's the thing, and this is, I think it's something that's, it's not primarily for like the left side of the aisle to do, but it's something that is most seen, at least in my opinion, on the left, right? And it's most frustrating for sure, viewing it from like the left side, left point of view, because no one, I'm pretty sure her name was Melissa Hortman or Horton or something like that, from Minnesota, the senator, right? Even though they didn't have a moment of silence for her like they did Charlie Kirk or whatever, right? They didn't do that. People did more or less act the same way that they did with Charlie Kirk, save for the making fun of her, right? And I think there might have been a few right wing crazy people making fun of her, and I just didn't see it, right? But when it's with like the left wing people, you see it freaking everywhere. It's like freaking everywhere, and I think that's mostly because of the bias that a lot of these platforms have, right? That they cater to this side because they share some of the, I don't know, some of the views, or it's more popular with like, I don't know, younger people, and that's why they cater to that more than the right wing people. And maybe it does happen a lot with the right wing people, but they get banished from it, or they keep it private or something like that, right? And it's still bad, right? Don't get me wrong, but it's a whole lot more worse when you push these types of things out, and it incentivizes people to go forth and do exactly what was done to you, basically the eye for an eye kind of thing. And this kind of goes back into like respect and a video Markiplier made 8 years ago called Respect. Even though people have their own kind of opinions on that video, I'm talking about the more general stuff he was talking about, which is treat people like you want to be treated. And this is something that we're taught to as kids, basically. I don't know if people still teach that. It doesn't seem that way because I don't know, most people don't uphold that value. But it's something we learn as kids, right? And it might be the hardest thing to do in some circumstances, right? If you have someone you like, you have someone you agree with, or someone you don't know, it's much easier to be kind and to respect them and to treat them as you would want to be treated, because you don't really know this person. They haven't given you a reason to, like, I don't know, even disagree with them, right? But if you have someone that you disagree with, it's much harder to be like, hey, listen, I disagree with you, but I can still respect you and be like, hey, you did what you wanted to do, and blah 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 blah. It's much easier to be like, hey, you're a, I don't know, like you're a fascist, or you're a Nazi, or you're a left wing lunatic, or freaking whatever. Right, whatever freaking buzzword you want to use, people tend to do that a lot more than to just be like, hey, yeah, I don't agree with you. Want to get some pizza or something like that? Because that's what me and my brother do, right? We don't agree with each other all the time, but we'll be eating like McDonald's or something, and then going back home and I don't know, like watching or playing a game together, or something like that, or talking about like music or something dumb. Because really, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. We feel the way we feel, and if we change, we'll change. And that's how most people are, right? If they have the chance to change, most of the time they'll change. But for some reason, you have to, and this goes back into my last video, where it's all about like kind of like a tribal thing, which one of my commenters said something like that, it being tribal, like tribalism, uh, where you have to double down and stand with your tribe, and you have to hold firm with your beliefs and all that. And while that's good, kind of, right, I think people take that the worst way possible, right? Holding firm with your beliefs doesn't mean you can't change your beliefs. It's just you're just standing by it, right? And if someone confronts you about it, you know what to say to be like, hey, this is how I feel, and this is why I'm so firm about it. This is why I think it's right, right? And then if they say something that that basically like breaks it down, and it's like, okay, here's why you aren't really that right, or here's the other perspective and why they think they're right, or something like that. Then you can be like, okay, now I can see, or now you can like take the time to think about it, stew on it, and be like, hey, maybe I was wrong, or maybe I'm still right and you're wrong, and here's probably why, right? But it'll end up as a discussion, and it's not really going to be this whole thing of whether you're an evil person or not, because once it stems from that, then you have what's going on now, basically. And the worst part of this, and the worst part of making him basically a martyr, right, is that it's going to happen to someone else, and then once that happens to someone else, it becomes a snowball effect, basically. If and well, it might, we don't know that for certain yet, it just seems like it's going that way. But when you have someone already assassinated, and then the group that you assume that they're a part of laughs about it, then you go for that group, shoot them, right? Probably assassinate someone in their group, right? Someone super famous or super, beloved. Then they see this and they're like, oh, and then they do the same thing again, and then you do the same thing again until there's doing it again and doing it again and doing it again until no one can ever talk about what they feel like or ever, express an opinion because they feel like they'll get shot by it, right? They feel like they'll die because they feel differently, just slightly, just a smidge differently from someone else because, I don't know, something it's stupid. Like I don't know. I just don't like wolf cuts. Right. I don't want to get a wolf cut. And then you get shot because of that. They will fear that, and that's probably how things are gonna go. That's like a really extreme, way of saying it. That's like a really extreme, option. I guess it's a really extreme future. Like a really extreme, shoot, hyperbolic kind of thing, but that's basically how it's gonna go, right? It's gonna go to this really dystopian kind of thing where no one can speak about how they feel or how they view things or have like a discussion because they feel the other person or someone else or someone around them will fucking kill them. And that's never a good thing. That is never a good thing. That's why this is never a good thing, and that's why you shouldn't be laughing about it, and that's why you shouldn't be, saying he deserved it, because that fuels other people to do the same thing to someone you like, right? And then once it happens to you, you'll feel like them, and they'll be laughing because they wanted to be in that position that you were in, and then you want to be back in that position, and blah 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 blah, and then it goes like bang 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 bang. Then there's no one else left, and then blah 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 blah. That's basically the summary of what will happen if things keep on going this way, right? And the best thing you can do for things not to go this way is to talk. Unironically, is to talk and to have an even discussion and to be honest, and then I don't know, hang out with each other for a little bit and get to know each other and see that no one in this world is truly evil. Okay, because really, everyone has the capacity for good. Even though that might be like a cringe statement, or you're wrong about that, there are a bunch of evil people in this world, or whatever. Everyone has the capacity for good, right? And you can stop bad things from happening. You can, anyone can stop bad things from happening if you take the actions to be good. Doing good brings good. Doing bad brings bad. Okay. Even if you're against like some super bad person and you do something bad to them, that is not going to bring anything good, right? Because again, doing bad brings bad. It's a whole like karma thing, except it doesn't affect you personally. It'll affect the world or the things around you, because this is like politics and all that. For me, I don't care if you're like some like you have a problem with some YouTuber or like a show or something. You argue about that, and something happens, right? And you punch someone in the face, right? Because really, that's not really a big consequence. You're in the heat, you're in the moment. The worst that will happen to you is you'll get punched back, or someone will call you for, I don't know, like you'll get arrested for assault or something like that. But it's not to the point where you're actively putting others in the same position as you, right? And and not others as in the other person, but other people surrounding the area. It's like going in, arguing with your friends, and then punching every single person inside of that bar or whatever that doesn't agree with you. That would be stupid, and then that incentivizes just a big bar fight, right? It's something that's so stupid and something I don't know why people haven't gotten yet, right? It's something that it takes just a little bit of thinking to realize that doing bad is bad, even if it's against a bad person or someone you feel like is a bad person. Doing that thing, stooping down to that level, which is bad, right? Stooping down to their level makes you just the same as them. But that's all I have to say about this, because this is a big tangent about something stupid, right? But yeah, if you liked it, like, share, subscribe, all that kind of stuff, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.